these theories in practice anywhere at the moment?
Are the theories in practice anywhere? No. Well, all of it we can do is use our human potential to think and create and imagine. Nothing comes without imagination. We're artists. And each of us has the capability. That's why we're here. We're imaginative people. We're imagining a new world.
The theme.
Can we move somewhere else if you're going to remove us?
Let me just say, the theme of this is stop the machine and create a new world. Create. That's why we're here.
Okay. Yeah, that's the theme of this movement. We have so many activities going on. I don't want to stop this, so I'm going to keep going, and if people have to leave, they have to leave. And thank you very much, those people who do have to leave. Thank you for being here. But if more people want to come, please feel free to drop in. No, don't leave yet. Oh, good, you're coming in closer. All right, that's what we need. Watch out, watch out. I was a teacher for many years, and I always had this empty 2 rows in front of me, and I said, come on, I don't bite. I want to be able to see your faces. Come on. So, yeah, thanks. So we were talking really about how capitalism has within it the benefits, and it's taught us things about being an individual and being self-dependent and independent. Those are the things that make capitalism such a progressive engine. It did do a lot of good things, but it's over. I mean, we can see the problems that this decaying, decrepit, destructive machine is causing us. How long do we keep saying, well, 4 more years? 4 more years. I'm not giving anybody more of my time. I don't have 30 more years. The next 30 years, or 20 in my case, I want to see a transition where we have a people's progressive political process where we, the people, we run. We are the candidates. We do not need parties even. I mean, I'm not against parties. You know, in other countries, all other countries, they have 40, 50 parties. When people from another country come and talk to us and, you know, they see the expression, the lesser of 2 evils is still evil, they say, what are you talking about? 2? 2? I got 50. We are so locked into something that is so dangerous. We're locked into a paradigm that is killing us. We've got to get out of it. And we're the imaginative people who can do that. We have to spread this by being unafraid that this somehow is un-American or undemocratic, or, you know, to talk about change is like dangerous. You know, oh my God, what are you talking about? Violence? We are talking about peace. We're talking about doing this in a way that's logical, possible, and it's towards a goal that really can be built. But we've got to start building it now. In the next 20 years, I want to see independent or whatever party or people put into the Congress. I say I want 500 Bernies. I want 500 more Bernie Sanders. He ain't perfect, but believe me, if he had some support in the Senate and in the Congress, a couple of people, you would see that he would also join this movement and start demanding every time he votes for, and any of our representatives that we get into Congress, our People's Congress, anytime there is a reform that is progressive and helpful and beneficial to working people, to students, to any group that you want to talk about, in other words, the people, when it benefits the people, you vote for it. But you step up to that microphone, which Bernie doesn't do. You step up to that microphone and you say, this is a step. I'm voting for it because it's a step, but it is not the goal. The goal is to build a new society based on far different values than the ones we are practicing in this system. And the only system that we've got right now makes us practice values that are destructive and anti-human. So we need to identify constantly anything good that happens that we can help with. And I mean for this to be part of any groups that you're associated with. I want you to think, are you the end? Are you the goal? Or are you a step? If you're a step, identify it as a step and say, I am only a step. The goal is a new society. That way we can really unite. And that's what we need to do. We need to connect the dots, connect all of us, and give our energy a purpose. not to go around in circles and eventually to get more Democrats in office. We don't need them. We don't need them. They are destroying us. They are deluding us. They're lying and cheating to us. They say one thing and they do another. I don't have to repeat this. 30 years ago I did. People look at me like, what are you, crazy? Democrats are good. No, Democrats are part of the system. They're part of the problem. They are the problem right now.
Yes.
But we need to, each of us, become more or less our own movement. We have to say, I can be a candidate. So the transition and the theoretical framework for a strategy is, you get into Congress, or you put someone into Congress that speaks about a new society, that doesn't just placate a single issue, but sees the connection between all of these issues. They are all connected. Medical care, health care, education, jobs, anything that we are seeing as a problem that is not being addressed, they're all part of this one absolutely overwhelming at times concept. It's this capitalist profit system. So we become the movement. I am a movement. And I either am a candidate or I elect a candidate. That candidate goes to Congress, just as I was saying, and we lend support to every progressive reform that comes along, but it is not the end. Because reforms, you know what Roosevelt said about reforms? You know how we got the WPA and all these reforms? He had a battle with the capitalists. Believe me, that guy he was battling, and I think it was Mrs. Roosevelt, who put the spine into, that's not a good phrase, but who gave courage to Roosevelt. And he called those capitalists around, and he said, this was the biggest capitalists in the world. He said, reform, if you would, preserve. He wasn't afraid to say to those capitalists, you want this system? You know, Warren Buffett, you want this system? You better allow some reforms or the people will take it from you. So we have to realize reforms are a way that capitalists keep us down. They keep us down. That isn't to say we don't fight for them. We didn't get anywhere. We didn't get the 40-hour work week. Can you imagine we're still at a 40-hour work week? Except now we work 50, 60, 70, 80 hours a week. Or more. I mean, there are people on their cell phone. Oh, and families. We've got mothers, fathers, children. As soon as you can, deliver newspapers, you're out there trying to help. So we've got to really look at reform for what it is. If it doesn't benefit us, we don't support it. Even if it does benefit us, we can support it, but we have to see it as a step. And we have to go on from that step to the next, until we get to a new society. And we replace capitalism. Someone said yesterday, how do you get from capitalism to this? My God, that's like, a matter of fact, I was interviewed yesterday. Of course, they didn't use it on the news, but I was interviewed by ABC News yesterday, and she said, my God, you're talking about a tall order, a new society. So I said, yeah, and she started to smile as soon as I said, yeah, humanity, we have always improved our way of living. We've always done that. This is nothing new. You think that we got from being serfs to being bourgeois because we just sat there and waited? No, we built it, and it took a long time, and we didn't even know where we were going at times. But because we felt in our heart it could be better than it is, we kept improving, and she started to smile. And I said, we're doing this not for us. We know we're not going to have this. We know we're not going to have this new society, 1, 2, 3. But in 20 years, we're either going to be really, really living in a gutter, or we're going to be feeling good and strong knowing that we can go somewhere together. 20 years. Which way do we want to spend our time in the next 20 years? I want to spend it building a new society. And I think we can. I really believe this. I didn't believe it a few years ago. I thought, oh my God, You know, nobody seems to know what's going on. I mean, people are so placid. I mean, you know what? Even if you have a job, even if you have Social Security, even if you have Medicare, even if you have health insurance, even if you have a house, you look at your kids and you say to yourself, holy God, what's waiting for you? You poor people. What are we going to do for the future? So I'm not interested in saving this system. I want to replace this system with something that works for all of us.
I'm Richard Cottingham from Hampton, Virginia, and I really hadn't prepared any comments, so this is going to be a little bit scattered, I think. All this is very good. It may be the best system I've ever seen. We need to sell it not just with facts and figures and saying this is better. We've got to learn how to frame it. We've got to put it in our worldview. I see so many things here that are in a conservative worldview. When we talk about the war in Afghanistan, there is no war in Afghanistan. There's an illegal occupation in Afghanistan. There's no war in Iraq. There's an illegal occupation of Iraq. People don't support having their young people go off and get killed for an occupation. They will for a war. We need to be framing things in this way so that we can change people's minds. And to change their minds, we've got to change their brains, and you do that by deciding how you say these things that support a progressive worldview, and then say them over and over and over and over. The Republicans and the conservatives are experts at that. They've been doing it forever. The earliest one that I ever really noticed independently was the totally fictitious welfare queen that Ronald Reagan invented. But now most everybody believes that all welfare people are cheats. And it's not true. The vast majority of people on welfare deserve it, they need it, they would lots rather not have to have it. We've got to learn to frame our ideas in that way. Some ways to start. We don't want to talk about the wars. We want to talk about the occupations. There is no left-right continuum in American politics. There is no moderates in politicians. You know, when people are described as moderates, that means they don't take a strong stand on one side or the other. That's all. I mean, I hear Joe Lieberman called a moderate. You know, how can he be a moderate? You know, I don't have a formula for how to do this. I don't really know how to do it myself, except I think we need to be very conscious of what our own worldview is and how do we say things that support that worldview and get other people to think the way we want them to think. So thank you for letting me speak.